Tonight, the prosecution and defense present their closing arguments in the Amber Geiger murder trial. Cases of gastroenteritis increase over the last few weeks, prompting cautionary advice from the Ministry of Health. And students of the Labi Early Childhood Development Center are relocated to the Bexor Primary School. We have the details of these stories and more coming up.
This is the Hot 7 Nightly News with Lovelace and Amy Joseph.
Good night. It is Monday, the 30th of September 2019. Welcome to the Hot 7 TV Nightly News. We're on Flow, channel 117, also being simulcast on Kiss FM. You can also watch on our website. It's www.caribbeanhottv.com or watch on our free Caribbean Hot FM mobile app. I'm Lovely St. Amy Joseph. Thank you for joining us. The gunshots that rippled from a Dallas apartment complex to St. Lucia in 2018 claimed the life of beloved Botham Jean. On Monday, the jury in the murder trial of the woman who killed him heard closing arguments in the case. The family attorneys say there can only be one reasonable conclusion after the facts were presented over 7 days, that Amber Geiger is guilty of murder. Amber Geiger's belief that she was in her own apartment when she fatally shot Botham Jean in his home is absurd. Thus, according to the prosecutor during closing arguments at the officer's murder trial on Monday, Assistant District Attorney Jason Fine said Monday that Amber Geiger was an intruder in Botham Jean's home when she killed him last September. The jury heard closing arguments from attorneys for the prosecution and the defense. They were expected to begin deliberations Monday afternoon.
I never want anybody to ever have to go through or even imagine going through what I felt that night. That was one of the very last things the defendant said when she was on the stand. Are you kidding me? That is garbage. Most of what she said was garbage. 99% of this trial has been about the defendant. So let's take 1 minute to talk about that. You know, when you're done with a hard day, we've all been there. And whether you eventually sit down on your couch or your favorite chair or lay down in bed, it finally hits you, right? I can breathe. You have that moment of peace, right? We've all been there. You guys have probably been there this whole trial. We get back to the hotel. That's what Bo was trying to achieve on September 6th, 2018. Every time that they mention the word mistake, I want you to think about Ms. Rose and about what is reasonable and what she did and the signs that she saw that this defendant did not see. It's not a mistake. It's a series of unreasonable decisions.
Amber Geiger tearfully testified last week that she mistook Jean's apartment for her own after a long shift. Speaking publicly for the first time about the events of that night, she said she feared someone had broken in and that she opened fire using her service weapon when a silhouetted figure walked toward her in the dark apartment. In her testimony, she repeatedly apologized for killing Jean, saying, quote, "I hate that I have to live with this every single day of my life, and I ask God for forgiveness, and I hate myself every single day," end quote. She said this as she looked across the courtroom at Jean's family. The family's attorneys, for their part, say there is only one reasonable conclusion to this case.
When he was killed, those facts are undisputed. And now this jury will make a determination whether or not his life mattered. We believe in the ability of this jury, of this court, to come to a just conclusion. We, on behalf of the family, appreciate the hard work for over a year of the prosecutor's office, even during the transition. They put on a case rooted in the facts and rooted in justice. And we believe that this jury will come to the only just outcome, which is guilty.
Amber Geiger's defense attorney, on the other hand, emphasized testimony from a Texas Ranger that many others in the same apartment complex had mistakenly gone to the wrong apartment. He said the state failed to prove that Geiger's belief that Jean was an intruder in her own apartment was unreasonable and that the law recognizes that mistakes can be made. He argued that Jean was coming towards Geiger when she opened fire and not getting off his couch as prosecutors claimed. A wonderful human being has lost his life, the defense said, but the evidence shows it's just a tragedy, a horrible, horrible tragedy. Words by Amber Geiger's defense attorney. Meanwhile, on Sunday, when Jean would have celebrated his 28th birthday, his family and friends attended a fundraising gala to launch the charitable Botham Jean Foundation in Dallas in his honor. We take in this report from CBS.
I am just in awe of what we're seeing today.
Sunday night in Dallas was the official U.S. launch of the Botham Jean Foundation. It was a formal red tie and red carpet fundraising gala and birthday celebration for the young man with a promising future.
I think it's a demonstration of transition of pain that we're going through into power.
The red tie event comes just 2 days after former Dallas police officer Amber Geiger testified she killed Jean in self-defense, mistakenly thinking he was a burglar in her apartment.
I pulled my gun out and I yelled at him. It's like, let me see your hands, let me see your hands.
Last September, Geiger told investigators she entered the wrong level of their apartment complex and walked into Jean's unlocked door thinking it was her own.
I never wanted to take an innocent person's life.
When you pulled that trigger, you intended to kill Mr. Jean.
He was the threat, yes, sir.
Early Wiley is a former judge and district attorney in Kaufman County, just outside of Dallas. She says, based on the evidence, she believes the jury will have a difficult time finding Geiger guilty of murder.
I don't know how you could ever explain a mistake like that, how you could ever live with that. But is she criminally guilty? From my training experience, she may not be.
No matter what the outcome is, we will still continue to honor him and to continue his legacy.
Geiger faces life in prison if she's convicted of murder, but today we could also hear if the judge is going to allow the jury to consider lesser charges like criminally negligent homicide or manslaughter.
The Department of Health and Wellness has recorded an increase in the number of cases of gastroenteritis over the last few weeks. The department is therefore advising members of the public on precautions to take to curtail the spread of the disease. Acute gastroenteritis is an inflammation of the stomach and the intestines and may be caused by viruses, bacteria, and parasites. Gastroenteritis is spread by direct contact with an infected person, by consuming contaminated food or water, or by touching contaminated surfaces, then putting your unwashed hands in your mouth. The number of cases on island have seen an increase over the last few weeks. National epidemiologist Dr. Michelle Fassois says frequent hand washing is key to dealing with the current increase in reported cases.
Also very important to note with gastroenteritis is that the surfaces need to be disinfected, and this can be done with a simple bleach solution. The surfaces can be washed down to ensure that the bacteria or viruses are killed and not transmitted. With the use of these preventative measures, this can minimize the spread of gastroenteritis and help keep it under control.
Individuals presenting with gastroenteritis may experience diarrhea and or vomiting, which may be accompanied by stomach pain and fever. Although the vast majority of cases do not bring on severe complications, there are exceptions.
Most cases of gastroenteritis is self-limited, meaning that it runs its course, and usually after a few days, persons are okay. However, in very young children and in the elderly, they may complicate with dehydration due to excessive loss of fluid through vomiting and diarrhea. Persons also, if you do have diarrhea or vomiting, should not attend school or work, as this increases the chance of you spreading it to your coworkers and to other persons in your surroundings. Therefore, persons are advised to remain at home until symptoms abide, at least 2 days after symptoms have ceased.
Members of the public are asked to seek medical attention at the nearest wellness center if their condition does not improve or if there are signs of dehydration. Signs of dehydration include decreased urination, dry mouth, crying with few or no tears, or feeling drowsy or sleepy. The Department of Health and Wellness continues to put measures in place to monitor and address the increasing cases of gastroenteritis. Transmission can be minimized if people practice good hand hygiene and follow these steps. Wash hands frequently and thoroughly with soap and water, especially after vomiting or after a bowel movement and before meals. Carefully wash fruits and vegetables before consumption. Surfaces and objects should be disinfected frequently to eliminate the virus or the bacteria using bleach. 1 teaspoon to 2 cups of water. Also avoid sharing cutlery or utensils. You're watching the Hot 7 TV Nightly News. Still to come, the director of the St. Lucia National Trust says actions speak louder than words when it comes to the Prime Minister's pronouncements about climate change at the UN Summit. The Labey Early Childhood Development Center is relocated, and we take you to Soufrière for the official launch of Creole Heritage Month. Stay with us. We have those stories and more coming up.